In this video, we will look at what information we can gather about f of x only from the graph of the derivative f prime of x. So a good thing to keep in mind is that f prime is telling us about the slope of f of x. So we can see on the first interval from -4 to 0 that the slope, the derivative, so the slope of f is going to equal 1 because that is the y value on that stretch. Likewise, on the interval from 2 to 4, the slope of f will be -1. And again, that is the y value. So the y value of f prime is giving us the slope of f. From 0 to 1, we notice that the slope of f is positive or greater than 0. That tells us that f must be increasing. From 1 to 2, the values of the line are negative, so the slope will be negative. So that tells us that f is decreasing. When x is equal to 1, that's an indication that there's no change in y with respect to x. And so our function f will be kind of tapering off, have a horizontal tangent line at that point. We have another 0 point where f prime is equal to 0. So f is neither increasing nor decreasing. Neither increasing nor decreasing. And we see that f would have to be decreasing before because the slope is below the x-axis. So the slope values are negative. So we can say f prime is less than 0 here. So f is decreasing. And then when x is greater than whatever number that is there, greater than our little 0 here, we know that f would be increasing, not because the purple line is increasing, but because the purple line is positive. Because f prime is positive, not because this is increasing. So this gives us an idea of where f is increasing or decreasing or neither, based only off information about the derivative. If we wanted to sketch a graph of f, the interesting thing is that we don't really know where f would be anchored. We don't know any specific y value. So I could sketch a graph, but then it could be shifted vertically anyway. We don't have that information yet. So keep in mind, the graph I draw does not need to be positioned in one place. Okay, so from -4 to 0, the graph has a slope of 1. So I'm just going to try to draw a line here with a slope of 1. This is getting a little large. There we go. Make sure you got the right slope there. And then the slope will still be positive. So the function is still increasing, but we start with a steepness of 1 and get less steep. And so that might look something like kind of curves and then gets less steep and needs to be horizontal at the top of that. And we might have a similar curve on the way down. So that from 1 to 2, the f prime values are below the x-axis, so f prime is negative, which tells us f would have to be decreasing. And then f is going to be decreasing with a slope of -1. So again, I need to try to capture. I'm just going to draw this here and then shift it where I need it here, make all these things line up. Kind of that -1 slope. And then the derivative is still negative. We're still below the x-axis, but we're getting less steep and kind of approaching 0. And then we'll switch over to an increasing function there. So let me draw something that's still decreasing, but decreasing more and more shallow. And then we switch over to an increasing function, something like that. So that could be one example of what f might look like. But keep in mind, this could be vertically shifted anyway, because we don't have information about where the graph actually lives. We only have information about the slope.